When you think of the all-time greats, there's always that one defining quality that instantly comes to mind. Unmatched dominance, legendary skill set,
Jordan to the circle, puts the shot in the air, go!
insane mental focus. And then there's Larry Bird. You see his picture and you don't think of any of these qualities. Yet he's the legend who took every one of these, maxed them out, became one of the greatest players in NBA history, and called it a day. And while some players are remembered for their stats, championship, or the impact they left on the game, Larry Bird is remembered for everything. This is the story of how the hick from French Lick became the man, the myth, the Larry legend. Larry Bird grew up in French Lick, Indiana, a town so small, if you sneeze, the whole neighborhood would bless you. And let's just say, French Lick wasn't exactly the hoops capital of the world. The town had a total of 0 basketball courts, and it was the absolute last place you'd expect any sort of hooper to come from, unless your idea of a crossover was dodging tractors. But that didn't stop Larry. His home court? A dirt driveway, a crooked rim, and a wooden backboard nailed to a barn that looked like it was one gust of wind away from collapsing. But that was all he needed. In his senior season at Springs Valley High School in French Lick, Bird averaged 31 points and 25 rebounds. And 2 years later, Bird found himself at Indiana State University, continuing his dominance. He played for ISU for 3 years, and in those 3 years, Bird averaged 30 points a night and rewrote the record books. First in points, rebounds, and steals, second in assists. And the crazy part? 3 of those records still stand to this day. In his final year, Bird dragged ISU all the way to their first and still only NCAA title game. They came up short and lost to Magic's Michigan State, slight foreshadow, but by then it didn't matter. Bird had already shown the world he was the real deal, including the franchise where he was about to become a legend. Larry Bird was technically drafted by the Celtics in 1978, but instead of jumping straight to the league, he pulled a power move and decided to play one more year of college ball, which meant his actual NBA debut didn't come until 1979. Now, because of how insane his college numbers were, the Celtics threw the bag at him. 5 years, $3.25 million, the biggest rookie contract in NBA history at the time. But not everyone was sold. Critics said he was too slow, too stiff, and that he'd get eaten alive in the fast-paced NBA. Yeah, turns out they were very wrong. In his rookie season, Larry Bird wasted 0 time. The man came in putting up 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 4.5 assists a night, leading nearly every rookie stat category, snatching Rookie of the Year, and somehow finishing 4th in MVP voting. 4th! As a rookie! But the craziest part wasn't even the numbers. It was the immediate impact. The year before Bird showed up, the Celtics were a sad little 29-win team, second worst in the entire league. But after this rookie Larry Bird joined, 61 wins. That's not a step forward, that's a teleportation into relevance. But for Bird, that was just the beginning.
He's telling us to play before they even take it out. He said, I'm going to go right over to that corner, right to the corner, caught the shot, shot a 3. Game over. It's like, are you effing kidding me?
Today, Steph gets credit for revolutionizing shooting, but Larry Bird, he was putting up numbers that don't even look real for the 1980s. Between 1984 and 1988, Larry Bird wasn't just scoring, he was putting on a shooting masterclass. For 5 straight years, he shot over 49% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. And in the 86-87 season, he became the first player ever to join the ultra-exclusive 50-40-90 club. And here's what's crazy. He's still one of only 3 players in history to do it multiple times, and the only to ever do it back-to-back. That's not just elite shooting. That's straight-up perfection. By the time the 80s wrapped up, Larry Bird had racked up the second most threes in the entire decade. And keep in mind, this was an era where guys barely even shot from deep. Bird wasn't just ahead of his time, he was the prototype for the modern NBA sniper. But what really grafted him into history books as one of the best shooters was his performance in the three-point contests. He didn't just win the very first three-point contest, he came back and won it 2 more times, making it 3 in a row. To this day, only one other player in NBA history has ever pulled that off. But his greatest moment came in his 3rd three-point contest. Not only did this man refuse to take off his warm-up clothes, not only did he have the balls to ask who's coming in second.
Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did. I was so bad.
This man went out, lit up the competition, and had the audacity to throw his finger in the air to celebrate before his final shot even dropped.
For the money.
This became one of the most iconic moments in NBA history and cemented Bird as one of the best shooters of all time and a straight-up savage.
I get a charge when I'm tell somebody on the opposing team that I'm going to hit the last second shot and do it. That's what it's all about.
If Larry wasn't playing basketball, he could have been a professional trash talker. Larry Bird had an art form. He'd tell you exactly what he was going to do and then do it. Every single time. One time, he told Xavier McDaniel, "I'm going to take the last shot and shoot it right in your face." And guess what? He hit it right in his face. And he had the audacity to say,
And he was like, I didn't need to leave 2 seconds on the clock, and shot a shot right in my face.
dang. The brother was a magic crystal ball away from being a fortune teller.
More trash on the basketball court than anybody I've ever played against.
But his trash talk didn't end at just predictions. Bird loved to humiliate his opponents. One time, right before a game with the Blazers, he told reporters he was saving his right hand for the Lakers.
Game of the trip, I'm going to play this one left-handed.
Now, it's a myth that he played the entire game with just his left hand, but here's the truth. He did spend most of that night going lefty and still dropped 47, 14, and 11. The man basically ran a full NBA game like it was a practice drill. And the ultimate respect that made Larry a brother was when he said that he was annoyed when the opposing team put a white guy on him.
He says, "You guys are putting a white guy on me." That's disrespectful. It's disrespectful when y'all put a white guy on me.
Larry Bird's trash talk stories are so legendary that there's basically an entire cinematic universe built around them. People have literally made hours-long documentaries just piecing together all the times this man verbally cooked his opponents. I kind of did one a while back here. But while Larry Legend's confidence and ridiculous skill already made him a legend, what really elevated his story was the rivalry that defined an entire era of basketball. The truth is, Larry Bird's story can't be told without Magic Johnson. These two didn't just face off, they built the NBA we know today. Before Magic and Bird, the league was kind of a mess. Games were on tape delay, arenas weren't even full, and the NBA had an image problem. But when Bird and Magic stepped onto the scene in 1979, everything changed. The rivalry started in college, like I said earlier, in the 1979 NCAA Championship, the most watched college game ever at the time. Magic's Michigan State beat Bird's Indiana State, and from that moment, it was clear these two were destined to go at it forever. They both hit the NBA in the same year, Bird on the East Coast in Boston and Magic on the West Coast in LA. The league's two most storied franchises, opposite coasts, opposite styles, and two stars that couldn't have been more different. Bird was the cold-blooded shooter, the trash-talking assassin from Indiana. Magic was the flashy, smiley floor general in Hollywood. Bird was grit. Magic was showtime. And when they clashed, well, what do you get when you mix Magic and a Bird? A show. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson met in the finals 3 times. Larry got him once in '84, Magic came back in '85 and '87. And by the end of the decade, Bird had 3 rings and 3 MVPs. Magic had 5 rings and 3 MVPs. The NBA, they had their 2 saviors. What Magic and Bird truly did was give the league a storyline. East versus West, Celtics versus Lakers, Magic versus Bird. They weren't just rivals, they were the reason people tuned in. By 1990, thanks to their rivalry, finals viewership had doubled compared to the late 70s. And the crazy thing, through all the battles, all the finals, and all the trash talk, they ended up with one of the most genuine friendships in sports. Larry Bird's aura wasn't just about what he did, it was about how he did it. He wasn't the fastest, he couldn't jump the highest, and by the end of his career, his body was honestly breaking down on him. But none of that ever mattered, because Larry Legend dominated with sheer skill, IQ, and an edge so sharp it cut through everyone in his way. Throughout the 80s, he built a resume that stacks up with anyone in history. 3 championships, 3 straight MVPs, 12 All-Star appearances, 2 Finals MVPs. Not to mention countless unforgettable moments, the clutch shots, the trash talk, the 50-40-90 shooting seasons, the rivalry with Magic. But truthfully, it all came at a price. Bird's back, which had bothered him since college, only got worse as the years went on. By the early 90s, the pain was so bad he'd sometimes lie down on the floor during games just to try and get relief. Eventually, the injuries forced him to retire in 1992, where another star kinda took the mantle. Yet, even as his career ended, Bird's aura never did. Because his legend isn't just in the stats or the trophies, it's in the stories. The way opponents still talk about him decades later. The way he'd tell you exactly how he was going to beat you and then go out and do it. The way he made the Boston Celtics a dynasty again and helped save the NBA alongside Magic. And while his body may have given out, his aura still echoes through basketball history. He wasn't just a legend, he was the legend. And at the end of the day, you can debate the greatest all you want, but just remember, Larry already told you it's him.